The doctors said I was lucky to be alive. My family called it a miracle. But the man who never left my hospital room wasn't there to protect me. He was there to make sure I never remembered the truth. Every night, my brother-in-law leaned close to my ear and whispered the same chilling words. "No one will ever believe you." When I finally woke up and told my sister what he'd been doing, she looked me straight in the eyes and called me delusional. My own mother accused the medication of making me imagine things. Everyone believed him. Everyone, except one silent witness. A forgotten security camera hidden in the corner of my hospital room had recorded every single second. And when that footage finally played, the man my family trusted most watched his entire life collapse in front of the world. Because karma doesn't need witnesses, it only needs time. The first thing I remember was the relentless beeping of a heart monitor. It echoed through the silent hospital room like a countdown I couldn't understand. My eyelids felt impossibly heavy, and every breath burned as if shards of glass were trapped inside my lungs. The smell of antiseptic filled the air. Tubes ran from my arms. My body refused to move. The doctors later told me I had survived a devastating highway accident. My SUV had rolled down an embankment during a rainstorm. They said it was a miracle I had lived through it. I had suffered broken ribs, a concussion, internal injuries, and weeks of memory loss. According to everyone around me, I was lucky to be alive. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. Every time I drifted between sleep and consciousness, I sensed someone sitting beside my bed. At first, I assumed it was my sister, Emma. She had always been protective of me after our father died. Even though we had grown apart over the years, I believed she would never leave me alone in a hospital. But the voice I heard wasn't hers. It was a man. Soft. Calm. Almost chikong. Forte. Until I understood what he was saying. I forced my eyes open one evening just enough to see a familiar silhouette leaning over me. It was my brother-in-law, Daniel. He smiled when he noticed I was awake. To anyone walking past the room, he looked like the perfect husband and devoted family member, a successful businessman spending every possible moment beside his injured sister-in-law. The nurses admired him. The doctors praised him. Even strangers smiled at him in the hallway. But the moment the door closed, his smile disappeared. He leaned close enough that I could feel his breath against my ear. His voice dropped to a whisper. "No one will ever believe you." A chill raced through my body. I tried to ask what he meant, but my throat was too dry to produce more than a weak gasp. He gently adjusted my blanket, pretending to care. Then he whispered again. "You should have died in that crash." My heartbeat exploded on the monitor. The machine began beeping wildly. Within seconds, nurses rushed into the room. Daniel instantly stepped backward, concern painted across his face. "I think she's having another nightmare," he said calmly. The nurses comforted me while he stood quietly in the corner, looking like the worried relative everyone wished they had. No one questioned him. Not once. The following morning, my mother arrived carrying flowers. She kissed my forehead and cried tears of relief. "I almost lost you," she whispered. For a brief moment, I felt safe. As soon as Daniel stepped out to answer a phone call, I grabbed my mother's wrist with what little strength I had. "Mom." She leaned closer. "It's Daniel." Her smile faded. "What about him?" "He keeps telling me." I struggled to breathe. "That no one will believe me." She stared at me for several seconds before gently brushing the hair away from my face. "Oh, sweetheart. The medication is making you confused." "No." I heard him. He said I should have died. My mother's expression hardened. "Daniel has barely left this hospital since your accident. He sleeps in that chair every night. He argues with doctors to make sure you're getting the best care. He loves this family." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I'm telling you the truth." She sighed heavily. "The doctors warned us that head injuries can cause hallucinations. Please don't accuse innocent people." My own mother didn't believe me. That afternoon, Emma finally visited. She hugged me carefully before sitting beside my bed. "You scared all of us," she said. "I need to tell you something." She smiled. "What is it?" "It's Daniel." The smile disappeared instantly. I repeated every word he'd whispered. Every threat. Every terrifying visit after the nurses left. Emma listened without interrupting. When I finally finished, she laughed. Id. Actually laughed. You really believe that happened? I'm serious. No. She folded her arms. You're confused. I know what I heard. My husband has spent thousands of dollars helping with your treatment. He canceled business meetings. He barely sleeps. And this is how you repay him? Tears filled my eyes. I'm not lying. Emma stood up. The neurologist warned us your memories could become distorted. You need rest. She walked toward the door before stopping. I won't let you destroy my marriage because of a concussion. The door clicked shut. I had never felt so alone. Over the next several nights, Daniel returned. Always after visiting hours. Always when the hallway became quiet. Always when no one else was inside the room. He would sit beside me with that same gentle smile everyone adored. Then he'd whisper things that froze my blood. Your family already thinks you're crazy. When you leave this hospital, no one will trust a word you say. You lost before you even woke up. I wanted to scream. I wanted to fight back. But my body was too weak. The only thing I could do was stare toward the ceiling every night, wondering if somewhere, somehow, someone else had heard the whispers that were destroying my life. 3 days passed. The doctors said I was improving. My speech had become clearer, and I could finally sit up without feeling like the room was spinning. To everyone else, it looked like I was healing. Inside, I was falling apart. Every night, Daniel came back. Every morning, he became the loving husband everyone admired. The contrast was terrifying. One evening, a young nurse named Olivia entered my room just as Daniel was leaving. She noticed the tears streaming down my face. Are you in pain? She asked gently. I hesitated. Pain wasn't the problem. Fear was. I looked toward the hallway to make sure Daniel was gone. He keeps threatening me. Olivia frowned. Who? My brother-in-law. She remained silent for several seconds. Instead of dismissing me like everyone else, she quietly closed the door. What exactly did he say? I repeated every whisper, every threat, every visit after visiting hours. When I finished, Olivia didn't tell me I was imagining things. She simply nodded. I'll make a note of it. For the first time, someone hadn't called me crazy. The next morning, 2 doctors entered my room with my mother and Emma. The neurologist smiled politely. We've reviewed your mental status. He looked down at his clipboard. Your concussion can temporarily blur memories and create false associations. Emma squeezed Daniel's hand. I told you. Daniel lowered his head, pretending to be heartbroken. I don't blame her, he said softly. She's been through so much. The performance was flawless. If I hadn't known the truth, I would have believed him too. That afternoon, I overheard 2 nurses talking outside my room. That poor man. He's been here almost every night. I wish more husbands and brothers-in-law cared that much. Their words made me sick. Daniel had carefully built the perfect image. Every smile, every coffee he bought for the staff, every polite conversation, every fake tear. It was all part of his disguise. Late that night, rain pounded against the hospital windows. Lightning flashed across the room. The hallway was almost empty. Right on schedule. Daniel walked in. He quietly locked the door behind him. My heartbeat quickened. He pulled the visitor's chair close to my bed. So, he whispered, did anyone believe you today? I remained silent. He chuckled. I'll take that as a no. He leaned even closer. You know what's funny? My wife thinks you're mentally unstable. Your mother thinks the medication damaged your memory. The doctors think your brain is confused. He smiled. I didn't even have to convince them. They did all the work for me. A tear rolled down my cheek. Why are you doing this? His expression darkened. Because you saw something you were never supposed to see. My breathing stopped. What did I see? He stared into my eyes. For a split second, fear crossed his face. He realized something. I truly couldn't remember. The accident hadn't only injured my body. It had erased the memory he was trying so desperately to bury. Daniel slowly smiled again. Good. Maybe you'll never remember. He stood up and walked toward the door. Just before leaving, he turned back. But if you ever do, I'll finish what the accident started. The door clicked shut. I couldn't sleep. His words echoed inside my head. You saw something you were never supposed to see. What had I witnessed? Why was he so afraid of my memory returning? I searched every corner of my mind. Nothing. Only flashes. Then, headlights. Someone shouting. A black SUV. Then darkness. The following morning, Olivia returned. She looked nervous. She checked the hallway before speaking quietly. I need to ask you something. What? Are you certain your brother-in-law visits after visiting hours? Every night. She bit her lip. That's strange. Why? Because according to the hospital records, visitors aren't allowed on your floor after 9 p.m. I stared at her. But he's here every night. Olivia slowly nodded. That's exactly why I'm concerned. She lowered her voice even further. I checked the nurse's station. No one ever signed him in. A cold wave washed over me. If he wasn't signing in, how was he getting into my room? Olivia looked toward the ceiling, then back at me. There might be one way to find out. What way? She pointed toward the tiny black dome mounted high in the corner of my hospital room. The security camera. I followed her finger. For the first time since waking up, I noticed it. Small. Silent. Always watching. And if it had been recording every night, then somewhere inside the hospital system, the truth was waiting. The tiny black security camera became the only thing I could think about. For days, I had been trapped inside a nightmare where every word I spoke was dismissed as a symptom of brain trauma. My own family had chosen Daniel over me. The doctors trusted him. The nurses admired him. But cameras had no emotions. They didn't take sides. They simply recorded the truth. Olivia glanced nervously toward the hallway before pulling the privacy curtain around my bed. I checked with hospital security, she whispered. They keep recordings for 30 days. My heart raced. My accident happened only 12 days ago. She nodded. The footage should still exist. Hope surged through me for the first time since I had opened my eyes in that hospital. But, Olivia continued, I can't access it by myself. Why not? It requires approval from the hospital administrator because of patient privacy laws. I clenched my fists beneath the blanket. If we ask officially, Daniel will find out. She looked down. And if he's hiding something, he'll have time to prepare. That afternoon, Daniel walked into my room carrying flowers. White lilies. My favorite. To anyone watching, he looked thoughtful. He placed them beside my bed and smiled warmly. Feeling better? I didn't answer. He leaned close enough that only I could hear him. I see hope in your eyes. His smile faded. That's dangerous. My stomach tightened. You've been asking questions, haven't you? I stayed silent. He chuckled. You really should stop. Then he straightened his tie just as my mother entered the room. Instantly, his entire personality changed. There she is, he said cheerfully. I was just telling her how proud I am of her recovery. My mother smiled at him. Daniel has been your guardian angel. Guardian angel. If only she knew. That evening, Olivia returned with unexpected news. I found someone. Who? Marcus, the night security supervisor. She explained that Marcus had worked at the hospital for nearly 20 years. He had a reputation for being brutally honest. If something happened in this building, Olivia said, he'll want the truth. Near midnight, Marcus quietly entered my room. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He closed the door behind him. I've heard what you've been saying. I braced myself for another lecture. Instead, he surprised me. I also heard what everyone else has been calling you. Delusional. He sighed. I don't like judging people before I see evidence. He folded his arms. So I checked something. What? The electronic access logs. I frowned. What are those? Every employee keycard that opens a secured hospital door is recorded. A chill ran down my spine. And Marcus looked directly into my eyes. Your brother-in-law never signed in after visiting hours. I know. But he paused. Someone else's keycard opened your room almost every single night. My pulse pounded. Whose? Marcus slowly removed a folded sheet of paper from his pocket. He laid it on my bedside table. The name printed beside every late-night entry made my blood run cold. Dr. Victor Harris. My attending physician. The doctor who kept insisting my memories couldn't be trusted. The same doctor who always defended Daniel. This can't be. I whispered. Marcus nodded slowly. It gets worse. He pointed to the timestamps. Every time Dr. Harris entered my room, Daniel had arrived just minutes later. Not once. Not twice. Every single night. They were working together, I whispered. Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. The evidence spoke for itself. The next morning, Dr. Harris entered my room for his usual examination. He smiled professionally. How are we feeling today? For the first time. I smiled back. I'm starting to remember. His hand froze in midair. It lasted less than a second. But I saw it. Fear. Real fear. What do you remember? He asked carefully. Elite. Everything. His face lost all color. He quickly finished checking my chart before excusing himself. The moment he left, I looked at Olivia. He believed me. No, she whispered. He believed you remembered. An hour later, Marcus burst into the room. His face was pale. They know. My heart dropped. What happened? I requested the security footage. And Marcus swallowed hard. When I went to retrieve it, every recording from your room had been deleted. The room fell silent. I felt the last piece of hope slipping away. Daniel had gotten there first. The only proof of his crimes was gone. Or so he thought. Marcus slowly reached into his jacket. I said the hospital footage was deleted. He placed a small USB drive into my trembling hand. But whoever erased it didn't know our backup server automatically saves a second copy. I stared at the flash drive. Every whisper, every threat, every lie, every visit, everything Daniel believed had disappeared, was sitting in the palm of my hand. And none of us realized. Watching that footage would uncover a crime far darker than anyone had imagined. The USB drive felt heavier than it should have. It was no larger than my thumb, yet it carried the weight of every accusation, every tear, and every sleepless night I had endured. Marcus locked the hospital room door before plugging it into his laptop. Olivia stood beside me, her hands trembling. The video opened. A timestamp appeared in the corner. 11:47 p.m. The room was dark except for the glow of medical equipment. There I was, lying unconscious in the hospital bed. A few seconds later, the door slowly opened. Daniel walked inside. No smile. No flowers. No caring expression. He looked around to make sure no one was watching before pulling a chair next to my bed. Then the room filled with the same voice that had haunted my nightmares. No one will ever believe you. Even though I had heard those words before, watching them on video made my blood run cold. Daniel leaned closer to my unconscious body. You should have died on that highway. Olivia covered her mouth. Marcus stared silently at the screen. The recording continued. Night after night. Different clothes. Different dates. The same threats. The same cruel smile. The same whispered promises. Everything I had told my family had been true. Then Marcus opened the recording from the night before my memory started returning. The atmosphere changed instantly. Daniel wasn't alone. Dr. Victor Harris entered the room behind him. The two men looked directly into the camera, unaware that the backup server was recording everything. Daniel spoke first. Has she remembered anything? Dr. Harris shook his head. Not yet. But she's improving. Daniel's jaw tightened. If she remembers what she saw, we're both finished. Marcus paused the video. The room became silent. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear myself breathe. I looked at Olivia. What did I see? Marcus resumed the footage. Dr. Harris answered the question for me. That accident wasn't supposed to leave witnesses. I felt the world stop. Daniel lowered his voice. She wasn't the target. Her father was. Every memory exploded back into my mind. Rain. The highway. Dad driving ahead of me. A black SUV forcing his car off the road. Daniel behind the wheel. I screamed. Everything came flooding back. The accident that killed my father had never been an accident. Daniel had murdered him. And when he realized I had seen everything, he tried to kill me too. Marcus immediately copied the footage and contacted hospital administration. Within an hour, local detectives arrived. This time, no one called me delusional. The detectives watched every second of the recordings. Then they requested traffic camera footage from the night of my father's crash. Within 24 hours, they found the black SUV. Its license plate matched a company vehicle registered to Daniel's business. The evidence kept growing. Phone records revealed dozens of calls between Daniel and Dr. Harris before and after both crashes. Financial investigators discovered massive transfers of money into Dr. Harris's private account. He hadn't protected Daniel out of friendship. He had been paid. The arrests happened 2 days later. Police officers walked into the hospital just after visiting hours. Daniel smiled when he saw them. I assume you're here to question my sister-in-law again. Instead, one detective stepped forward. Daniel Carter, you're under arrest for conspiracy, attempted murder, witness intimidation, and the murder of Richard Collins. His smile disappeared. Emma gasped. My mother nearly collapsed. Daniel looked at me with pure hatred. This isn't over. The detective tightened the handcuffs. It is now. As officers led him away, he searched the hallway for someone to help him. The nurses who once admired him turned away. The doctors avoided eye contact. No one defended him. Dr. Harris was arrested the same afternoon. His medical license was permanently revoked. He later admitted he had altered medical reports to make me appear mentally unstable, hoping no one would ever believe my testimony. My mother came to my hospital room that evening. She couldn't stop crying. I'm so sorry. I chose him over you. I called you confused. I failed you. I held her hand. The pain she carried would never disappear. Neither would mine. But forgiveness didn't erase consequences. Emma filed for divorce before Daniel's trial even began. She later admitted the guilt of not believing me would stay with her forever. Months later, the courtroom was silent as the jury delivered its verdict. Guilty on all counts. Daniel was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dr. Harris received a lengthy prison sentence for conspiracy, obstruction of justice, evidence tampering, and medical fraud. As Daniel was escorted from the courtroom, he turned toward me one last time. For the first time, there was no confidence in his eyes, only fear. The same fear he had tried to make me live with. I simply looked back and said, "You were right about one thing." He frowned. I smiled. "No one believes you anymore." The courtroom doors closed behind him. And in that moment, Karma whispered louder than he ever had. The end.